Welcome back to Press Pass Daily on My 18. It's time for our Going Green segment, brought to you by Graf Chevrolet, 100 years in the automobile business. Stop out and see Matt and Mark and Greg on West Grand River in Okemos. They will take great care of you. Go Green, go Graf.
What do you tell your football team? Just exactly what I just said, you know. It's going to get better or worse. That's their choice. That's our choice as individuals, how we handle success, how we handle failure. We've always responded. I think there's you know, we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We have to move forward, and that's the best way to do it, is to get to practice today.
Tom Crawford, after Michigan State's 49-37 loss to Ohio State, how do the Spartans move forward in the last 4 games?
Well, there's still plenty to play for. You know, I mean, and that's all about. They're 7-2, and if you had asked a Michigan State fan years ago at 7-2, would you be down in the dumps after a loss to Ohio State? You'd say, hey, I'll take that. So from a perspective check, they're still in pretty good shape.
Mark, people who think 7-2 is terrible obviously don't remember 10 head coaches in 36 years.
Yeah, you know, 10-2 or 11-2, whatever the situation is, you know, players play. They play hard. They got a lot of pride. They put everything they got into it. Coaches coach hard. And 1 loss or 2 losses does not dictate the success of your season.
It's funny now with the playoff, and everything is geared to get into that football 4. And if you don't make it, it's almost like college basketball time where you come up just short.
Yeah, you know, the thing of it is that Michigan State was a recipient of a lot of accolades for the last several weeks that they've never been used to, and their fans haven't been used to.
Yeah.
So when the thing went, you know, everything unraveled, if you will, and that Ohio State team, I don't know, Mark, if you thought so too, I just saw a very extremely athletic team, and I just think they were, you know, they didn't match up well against Ohio State, especially on the edges.
Looking at it from a coach's standpoint, I don't think they matched up very well. Athletes were athletes. And the athletes on, you know, Ohio State's side really prevailed.
That was Ohio State's A game offensively, certainly. J.T. Barrett, Pat Narduzzi afterwards said, did he throw an incomplete pass?
Like, where did this come from?
I mean, where did this come from?
I saw him in the Penn State game. That's why I bought into the fact that J.T. Barrett's going to have a long night against the Spartans. I wrote too much into that, and look what happened. He just did the opposite against Michigan State.
Yeah, he was phenomenal that night. He was in the zone. He had a perfect night. And if you could find mistakes, they were very, very few.
Bad night to have a bad game for Michigan State's defense. Didn't have a single 3 and out. Mark, when you think about this defense over the last couple of years, that's hard to believe.
Well, you know, if Spartan fans really look back at the beginning of the season, they had some question marks, and it was the linebacker and it was the defensive backfield. They thought the defensive line would be very successful, which they played pretty well, but I think a lot of questions were answered last Saturday night.
Talking to some of the BTN folks last night, I got a great stat that last year Michigan State in 14 games had 11 plays of more than 40 yards that they surrendered. This year, through 9 games, they've already given up 17. That's the most in the league, Tom.
Right. Now, with Ohio State and Oregon, you're playing teams of higher caliber. So you look, you know, their defense was pretty dominant against lesser echelon teams, maybe some more so than last year. So maybe there's a little bit of fool's gold. Don't get sensitive, Michigan State fans, but I'm just saying that you know, that there was a little misleading in what they accomplished prior to the Ohio State game.
And maybe the Big Ten fools us too, Mark. You look at the games, and a lot of them are mismatches. You've got Nebraska's pretty good, Wisconsin's pretty good, obviously Ohio State's very good, but a lot of these games, not very good.
You know what, I hate to say it because, you know, being a Big Ten country, you look at the scenarios that have played out, and some teams are getting better, some teams haven't improved that much, and now reality is setting in for a lot of these teams.
Funny part, Tom, is beginning of the year we gave all our projections. And I said I thought Michigan State would win 10 games and Michigan would win 9. And Michigan State's still got a chance to win 10 games and could finish as high as 8th once all these other teams start losing. And that's right where they started.
Well, yeah, and I think they will. I think Mark D'Antoni is a great coach, and he'll right the ship and get them ready in College Park for the Terrapins. And Michigan is one I swung and missed it. I had the Wolverines 10-2, and look what's happened there.
We'll talk more about that in just a minute, our Out of the Blue segment. But, you know, you talk about Mark D'Antonio, just dawned on me. Anytime you've got a Mark D, chances are he's a pretty good coach, right?
Flat-out coach, right? Is that the formula?
Absolutely. When we get back, we're going to talk about the University of Michigan, about the Big Ten, about the college football landscape. And here we are after 3 weeks of the college football rankings. We'll see what that leads to down the road. We'll be right back. It's Press Pass Daily here on My 18.